American wrestling exploded onto Irish television in the 1980s.
What a physical match! What a great way to start SmackDown! Between Sheamus and a very game Damien Sandow.
Names like Hulk Hogan, The Ultimate Warrior and The Undertaker became schoolyard favourites as young children emulated their antics up and down the country. Today, the industry is just as big, and under the name of the WWE, or World Wrestling Entertainment, wrestling superstars are icons to millions worldwide. Unbeknownst to most Irish people, one of the biggest names in the business is a man born and raised in Dublin, Sheamus.
Sheamus was brought up on North Great George's Street, and he said the way that the ring is set up here tonight, it reminds him of the street he was brought up in Dublin. Here we go, street fight. Gaelic is actually how you'd say it, Mark. Sheamus and Damien Sandow.
Worlds apart from the huge stadiums and TV audiences of America's WWE, I'm in a community centre in Ballyshannon, County Donegal. Stephen Muldoon from Wrestling.ie is setting up a ring for tonight's show. Sheamus started wrestling at shows like this, which feature regularly up and down the community halls and small towns countrywide. Promoters like Stephen's Wrestling.ie, or Dublin's Main Stage Wrestling, run these shows where young Irish wrestlers, hoping to be the next Sheamus, cut their teeth and learn their trade. As Stephen sets up the ring, he tells me about the excitement wrestling brings to a crowd, and I begin to get a picture of the attraction for the wrestlers.
The level of noise there comes from a wrestling show. It's unlike any other sort of theatrical production. I know with pantomime you get a lot of crowd interaction, stuff like that, but not for 2 hours solid. And the guys actually come off their seats and maybe sometimes throw stuff into the ring. They really get into it. So it's very loud, and then it's like a tennis match or something. The noise is going from one side of the court to the other, sort of thing. And the guys are shouting and roaring, telling the boys, be quiet and shut up. And then the next guy comes out, he says, "Come on now, let's hear you, let's make some noise." And sometimes I find the people who aren't wrestling fans at all enjoy the show far more, because it's kind of like an experience for them or something. It's like walking into Willy Wonka's chocolate factory or something. It's like, oh my god, I didn't even know this existed.
I'm backstage at a show with an up-and-coming Irish wrestler, Bam Catraz, who is hoping to follow Sheamus's footsteps, as are many of his companions. We are packed into a small hotel room, doubling up as a dressing room, and Bam sets the scene for me before his fight, which is next on the bill.
Pretty much what everyone would imagine to be their standard hotel room if they were going on a budget. So we just make the most of it. Everyone here gets on, so it's not really it's not that bad. But in this case, I know who I'm wrestling. I don't know who's going over, which would be winning, and I don't know who's going to work babyface and heel, good guy and bad guy. I think I'm literally walk straight from here down out to the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, weighing in at 218 pounds, give it up for Bam Catraz!
This form of wrestling is known as sports entertainment. It walks a thin line between sport and theatre, and by all accounts is accepted by neither discipline. Bam, dressed in bright orange, interacts with the crowd as he walks towards the ring. He is like an actor in a theatre, playing his role in the show that is about to begin. Getting the crowd into the story which is being told is essential. There are good guys called babyfaces and bad guys known as heels. As many of the spectators here will never have seen Bam before, he must let them know that he is the good guy and his opponent Sammy is his enemy. This is done through costume, characters, music, and by Bam working the crowd on his entrance. Bam struggles to get the better of Sammy, taking a series of heavy blows before knocking Sammy to the ground to the crowd's delight. Laid flat out on the ground, Sammy's had enough. Bam gets to his feet as the referee raises his hand and awards him the match.
I'm done.
Yeah, not bad. Alright? Yeah, I'm not too bad, buddy. Not bad? Yeah, it was fine. They enjoyed it. The crowd did. That's the most important part. How's it going, boys? Yeah, the crowd's easy. Just want to see the basic. Yeah, so that was fine. Very basic match. First time I was wrestling Sammy, and first time I've actually wrestled. Well, I've wrestled in this area before, the first time in this particular venue. The crowd seemed to enjoy it. So for me, that's always going to be the most important thing. The biggest thing about it that I think a lot of people don't realise is that it's such a, wrestling, even as you could see, our match wasn't excessively, we didn't take a lot of big bumps or anything, it was a lot of just interacting with the crowd. And the thing is though, is that I'd still be heavy breathing even though we're only there for 10 minutes because it's such a stop-start form of cardio almost. It's such a small confined space. It isn't like you feel like you've run a marathon when you've just run back and forward in a 16-foot ring, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm happy enough with how it went. I'll have to go and see how Sammy is and I'll, shake his hand and thank him for the match. But yeah, it was good.
I come from a long line of Celtic warriors.
I'm all about having a laugh, a good time, because I'm generally a nice guy. Reputation for being a hothead. Let's just say, I'm spirited.
Too many lies, oh, too many lies. The Grey White, the Celtic warrior Sheamus.
Don't let that smile fool you. When he's provoked, that Irish temper comes out.
Sheamus, a hothead, a mean streak.
Two-time WWE champion, a king of the ring.
I don't think I've seen anyone make as big an impact here in the WWE as quickly as Sheamus. There will be only one man standing at the top. Me, the Celtic warrior.
Although known as Sheamus to his millions of fans, his real name is Stephen Farrelly, and he is as Irish as it comes. A fluent Irish speaker standing at 6'4" with pale skin and red hair. Aged 35 and born in Cabra on Dublin's north side, he spent the best part of his life living there until he was signed to the WWE in America. Like many of his generation, he grew up watching wrestling, but rather than leave it behind as he got older, he pursued his dream to become a superstar, like those he watched on TV as a boy. I want to talk to Sheamus, but getting access to a wrestler from the WWE isn't easy. In a business which depends on characters and storylines, a request for an interview is no simple process, as I find out when I contact the agents for Sheamus and the WWE in London. They've asked me to provide them with detailed information on the documentary, the audience, the station, and how he will be portrayed. While I'm waiting on them to come back to me, I meet Bam Catraz in the gym to find out more about Sheamus and his early wrestling career.
Here's the story for you. Once upon a time, I applied fake tan to Sheamus.
Really, tell us about that.
So, we had a TV show called Whiplash, right? It used to be on a channel on Sky called The Wrestling Channel. So, this was around 2006. So, I was on the first season, but not on the second season. So, Sheamus, this is when he was like trying to fit the stereotypical mold of a pro wrestler, which would have been, tan, bronze sort of body. So he would try, the thing is, with the color, the pigmentation of his skin, he just couldn't take tan very well. So he'd do beds, he'd apply tan and stuff so. There was a show I was helping out at, and no one would do his back, so it fell to me to. Well, it's regardless. The thing is, some people still hold on to the manly vibe of pro wrestling. You know what I mean? Can't do that sort of thing. But the thing is that a lot of wrestling is cosmetic or aesthetic, and it is a lot about how we look. So he knew that, I knew that, so I tanned his back for him. He appreciated it, I hope. But yeah, it wasn't not one of my proudest moments. So I'm just going to go get some plates to lift. And the thing is though, the truth to it is that a lot of making it in wrestling is luck and who you know. Not necessarily from a political standpoint, but it could just be that one match or that one show or that one interaction you had with somebody that made them look at you, and that could lead to you getting a contract, you know what I mean? So I think maybe given another year or so, if I can really get myself into the shape I want to be in, or at least closer to it, then I'll probably feel better about it. But until then, all I'll see is these. I'll just take, not like I'm not down on myself. I don't lack confidence. I just like to be realistic about my goals.
When Sheamus started his career in Ireland, he wrestled with a school called Irish Whip Wrestling, run by Simon Rochford.
I am Simon Rochford. I am the promoter, founder and organiser for IWW, which is Irish Whip Wrestling. The one thing Sheamus had over his size and his build was his determination. He had it, like he wanted to do it. He'd keep talking about it, he'd keep focusing on it. Imagine being in WWE, he'd say like, oh, I'd be with Sheamus and he'd have figures to come in for British Bulldog Tar Foundation. He'd order them offline. And he'd just be staring at these figures sometimes and he'd be like, imagine having your own figure, imagine if I was a figure. So he had that in his head, like he would think like that. So it's like positive thinking, law of attraction. But when you say wrestling, this really annoys me with people. You say wrestling, they laugh at you like, you know, so wrestling. As if you don't realise it's storyline. You know, of course it's storyline, it's stage, it's entertainment. But they talk to you as if you're the last person to know this, like, you know. It's frustrating.
At Main Stage Wrestling School, Bam takes me through the various moves. Lockups, bumps, rollovers and wrist locks. Up to 10 wrestlers gather around the ring in pairs to practice routines.
We all, like, the big secret is, you know, is it real, is it fake? It's neither. It's predetermined in nature because the two people are working together to provide fantastic entertainment for children, adults, people everywhere. Everybody can enjoy it. But everything we do in the ring does legitimately hurt. Like, it is still made of wood and steel. Like, there's no way to, like that noise, there's no way to fake that. You know what I mean? We are trained how to land, you know, to protect our lower backs and prioritise landing on our upper backs because, as most people will know themselves, we have big, hard shoulder blades.
Outside, Main Stage wrestler and trainer Johnny Notaro takes two new recruits through the specifics of the wrist lock and, most importantly, how to sell it to the crowd like it's painful, despite the fact that it's choreographed.
Yeah, so come in, yeah, throw off his right arm, so throw it off, right, so it should be one fluid motion, right, so lock him, so you're throwing his right off, give me your arm, and as you throw it off, you come back over and you hook his arm into a key lock, yeah. A lot of people, they're smart, they're wired to wrestling, they know it's, you know, it's not 100%, it's not even 10%, right, but like, so when you're in it, right, if you have a free hand, like, everyone's gonna ask it, you know. I remember when I watched wrestling and the guy was in the wrist lock and me dad was watching it, and, you know, your dad's kind of old and he's skeptical, cynical, and he's kind of like, why doesn't he just punch him, right? So to take the emphasis off the free hand to the crowd, you sell, you grab something up here, you grab your shoulder, you grab something, so they're not wondering about that hand, that's, yeah. They're not wondering about that. Why don't you just punch him? You know? So.
That was your lasting effect on you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's right, though.
Thanks for ruining wrestling for me, Dad. I love wrestling. No, luckily I think that when I kind of figured out that it wasn't 100% legitimate when I was a kid, I actually just loved it more. You know, so, you know. I'll tell you what, lad, when you're in WWE, you can say, "Hey Vince McMahon, you know where I learned the wrist lock? Down a filthy alley." Humble beginnings. In Crumlin, yeah, down an alleyway in Crumlin.
There it is. That was a big old face bump Connor just took, landing on his front. The littlest thing can go wrong, particularly when you consider that we're trapped in a ring that is made of wood and steel and is just these ropes that everybody knows synonymous with a ring. They're not actually springy. We just create the illusion that they're springy. Wrestling falls into that crack between, is it sport, is it entertainment, is it theatre? It's neither. It's kind of like a mesh of both, like in between. So neither culture really takes it on as its own. And that's why I think wrestling fans themselves like have a hard time explaining exactly what it is they like about it. It's just there's something appealing about watching characters in bright costumes run around the ring and slam each other and hit the ropes really hard.
Karen, wrestling under the name of Kazuji, is the only female wrestler down at Main Stage Wrestling.
So as you see, she has absolutely no problem getting in there and taking it to the lads, and that's worked to her advantage. She's already getting a lot of work elsewhere, not just here in Main Stage, and other promotions in the UK as well are interested in using her.
You look at it as an equal strength because it's two males, but then you see a guy slamming a girl. Like, the thing is, he didn't have to hit me with anything huge to get you to go, whoa. He just had to hit me a slam, which you've probably seen 3 or 4 of them in the match before. But the fact that he did it to a girl, it has much more of a wow factor because of the size difference. It does touch on that sketchy subject. But I think the main basis is to come around and make the crowd see that so long as it's not done distastefully, I think it can be done. Because, yeah, you're going to have a man hitting a woman, but for some reason the crowd cheer when the woman hits the guy. Like, you're going to pay way much more attention. So it's like, oh wait, that's a guy and a girl? What's that about? Like, I remember walking in the first class, you just see like a row of 6 or 7 boys just all staring at you like, what the hell is she doing here? And then we've had a lot of girls come and go, it's just none have stuck it out yet. Main Stage just seems to be a bit of a boys' club, and I'm pretty much a boy to them. And I've gone out and I've managed to get myself booked in Brussels at the end of next month, and then I've got another UK booking after that, and kind of taking it one international at a time because it's still dipping your feet. So I'm kind of like, right, I'll do that and I'll see how I am. Hopefully one day someone can bring wrestling up to the Katie Taylor standpoint.
It's been a few weeks now since I contacted Sheamus' agents originally. I've sent them all they requested and followed up several times with emails and calls, but I'm getting no response. I'm starting to get an idea about the enormity of the wrestling business that Sheamus has entered, and the elusiveness of its superstars. Ultimately, all the hard work that Johnny, Kazza and Bam are doing now is to break out of Ireland and into the international scene.
If you want to get noticed, you have to do it yourself. You have to really, like, no one's going to come and just point at you and say, yeah, I want you, and then push you ahead. You really have to circulate a bit more. Like, I send out like wrestling CVs to England and stuff because England was kind of my first stop. So I sent them out and I tried sending to as many promotions and get my name out there. So instead of just being, in Ireland or whatever, fair enough, like over in England, I'm just another wrestler because there's a lot more people over there. But I'm still trying to put my name out there, so the more it gets recognised, the more they'll remember it. Because you've done Ireland now, and you pretty much have to ask, you do yourself up, you put your work in at yourself, but then you have to push it out there to get it seen, because no one's just going to point at you and say, yeah, okay, I'll take you now.
Since the last 10 years, I think Ireland's kind of looked at now as, kind of a hotspot for talent, what I mean? I think per capita, there's, Ireland's such a small country, but like there's 3 or 4 people over in WWE are on their way over to WWE, and then there's a good few guys over in Japan.
America's not the only place to make it big. In Japan, where wrestling is huge, Irishman Fergal Devitt, going under the alias Prince Devitt, is a household name.
赤コーナー第62代チャンピオンプリンス・デビッド選手の入場です。
そうですね。この反りが素晴らしいですね、最初のね。はい。あそこから綺麗に回転してね。
見事なプリンス・デビッドのノータッチ飛び込むヒーロー。
An Irish tag team, the Big Hangovers, have also made success for themselves in Japan. When they're not working there, they come back to do shows around Ireland.
We're happy. These are good shows. They're good money for us. It's good crowd and stuff like that. But as well as that, we wrestle in Japan for a lot of the year as well. So it's TV, magazines every week. That to us, and that's kind of more wrestling wise as well. It wouldn't be like entertainment or anything like that. So for us, that's 3-4 months during the year, maybe 1 or 2 trips as well. So it takes up a lot of the year there. Come home, do a few shows here around Europe, Scotland, Germany, stuff like that.
So this is full time for you guys?
Yeah, but in Japan it's full time because you wrestle every day, and the days you have off your training. In Europe it's not as much full time, you might only get 2 or 3 shows a week, but it's still
decent enough, you know, in Europe.
In Japan, is it different than it is, you know, the wrestling entertainment? Is it different? You're saying is it more?
Yeah, it'd be still a lot of entertainment over there. Like, they do a lot of entertainment, some gimmicks and stuff like that. But you need to be able to wrestle. Like, you need to be able to chain wrestle. Your basics have to be very, very good, and you need to be a good worker as well. So the entertainment kind of comes second. Like, a lot of lads do entertainment spots and stuff like that, but on TV and that, it'd be fairly full on. Like, they'd be the best in the world, the Japanese, you know. They're the top wrestlers. Yeah, technically to be. If you can't wrestle there, you're in trouble, you know. But I mean, I think a lot of the stuff in the States and stuff, it's more, you know, big man entertainment kind of thing, you know. And I always thought as well, the bigger guys, they're never the best wrestlers, you know. A lot of the time, the smaller guys are the best technically wrestlers, you know.
While Sheamus was trying to make it as a wrestler back in Ireland, he worked as a barman in Dublin, alongside Simon Rochford.
Myself and Sheamus at the time, where he was a barman, I was a bartender. We were talking about doing some wrestling, going over to England maybe to train. And one thing led to another, and yeah, I ended up setting up Irish Whip, and the plan was to train him in and have him as the top guy, and yeah, that's basically what happened. So Sheamus started as a fan like anybody else. He went to the shows when he came to Ireland. He did anything to try and be in around wrestling.
The WWE came to Dublin scouting for talent. Sheamus' hard work had paid off, and he was asked to try out for a developmental contract.
They went in and you had them in doing some lock-ups and rolls, and so I asked him to switch around. You had a chat with them and just told him maybe come back some other stage. Sheamus got his tryout again in WF. I think Sheamus got, I might be wrong in the figure, but I think Sheamus had about 4 or 5 tryouts before he was signed. Maybe 4, maybe. But yeah, obviously you're impressed with him. You saw something there, like, because he kept.
But he also kept going.
And he was the only one asked back out of like the 4 lads that went together, the 5 lads, like, you know. Like, Sheamus started first. He wrestled as Goldove, and nobody was interested. He'd just come out, and obviously he was great, come out. And I said to him, I said, look, you're going to have to change the gimmick. Something Irish, or real people can chant. So I came up to SOS, Sheamus O'Shaughnessy gimmick. So when he was here, we changed to SOS, Sheamus O'Shaughnessy. Then I started to put him to the ring with the Americans that would come over. People who were in WWE back in the day. And it took off from him. After that, the kids got behind him, they chant SOS, and he got behind his own gimmick as well. He was like, yeah, this is great, let's try this, let's try that. And it worked for him.
Since being signed in 2006, Sheamus has become a WWE superstar and has gone on to win a series of belts, including the WWE Championship twice, the World Heavyweight Championship, and more recently, the King of the Ring in 2010 and the Royal Rumble in 2012.
We have a new champion! And new WWE champion, the Celtic Warrior, Sheamus!
Ladies and gentlemen, I am stunned. Shock and awe throughout the WWE Universe. Sheamus is your new WWE champion. I am absolutely stunned. I can't believe it. Sheamus is the WWE champion. He came.
Have you still in touch with Sheamus?
Myself and Sheamus, no, at present we're not. We were great friends, actually. Sheamus was the best man at my wedding, actually. We were very good friends before wrestling. And around the time egos got in the way, Sheamus had an ego, as did I. I had a massive ego too. And it was just basically we went back down from each other. I thought I was right in one subject, he thought he was right in the other. And we fell out for a while, actually. Fell out for a couple of years. And then we started chatting again when he went over to the States at first. And yeah, we stayed in contact for about a year or so. But I haven't heard of Sheamus now since he's been on the main roster. And that's grand. Because I wish him every success. He's has his own figures. He's on pay-per-views. He's internationally known. And yeah, I wish him every success.
With still no word back from the WWE about an interview with Sheamus, I contacted them again, telling them I only had a short time left to complete the documentary and had been trying to get Sheamus for weeks. I explained how it was an Irish interest story and I was trying to tell his tale. After a few more emails back and forth, they requested clips of what I'd recorded and asked specifics about what I was going to say. While all this was going on, I met with Bam again, who was giving a beginner's class down at Main Stage Wrestling.
When Sheamus was over here, I'm sure he had his doubters, but I was very lucky to be somebody who was, like, even despite our age difference, he was very nice to me, you know what I mean? Like, he gave me lifts and stuff to shows for nothing. But last time I ran into him, I was in town with a few of my friends and we saw him on Grafton Street. So we were just chatting for a little while, and it was refreshing to see that he's managed to remain so humble, even all the way up there. I think we've people down already. What's the story? Good trainee? How's it going? Today is beginner class, so a lot of what we teach here is how to do things safely without hurting your opponent. But the thing is that this kind of fosters this idea of treating it like it's fake. So you'll see a thing where people are trying to sell, or the word selling would mean basically, you know, trying to sell it to somebody as if it's real. So if I pick a guy up and he's like, oh no, please don't drop me, it sounds very fake. Whereas we teach a guy to treat it like it's real, like he might potentially get dropped on his head, adds that air of realism to the match, and people can invest in it then as well. Because if you don't believe it, why should the people you're selling it to believe?
My name's Darren Keogh.
And what age are you?
19.
Right, and what kind of got you into the wrestling, or is it always something you wanted to do, or what made you come down?
Started watching wrestling at a very young age, and always watched it every weekend, and always wanted to be a wrestler.
Have you given thought to what you would like to do? You know what I mean? If in an ideal world, where would you, like, what role would you play on a show, and what character would you have?
A good guy.
You want to be a good guy?
Yeah.
Do you have a name picked out?
Castiel.
Names like Castiel, Nathaniel, all these sort of names are biblical in a way. So you kind of have to present you'd have to be able to present it in such a way that it fits the name, but is also friendly to a children's audience.
Like, would it be your dream to make it in WWE, or are you just having a bit of cracker?
No, it is my dream to get to WWE. Well, I was boxing from the age of 10, so that was like main fitness. And then, like, boxing, I wasn't really able to get the anger. Like, when I was in front of a crowd for my first match, it was the entertaining the people, not like hurting the other lad, that like excited me. It wasn't exciting for me to hurt the lad, it was exciting like the reaction of the crowd.
When you backed him into the ropes, you shot him off there. That's not where you shoot him off. In, step, off. Understand, alright? You need to be back into the middle of the ring by the time you shoot him off, okay? Just little things like that.
Bam, Johnny and Kazza have been working up to a show in Fatima Mansions in Dublin. It was a chance for them to promote themselves and practice what they'd been training so hard for. With today being my final deadline for hearing from Sheamus' agent, I kept a watchful eye on my phone for emails or a call, but it was unlikely it was going to happen at this stage.
How are you doing? Tickets, is it? Yeah, over here.
On the way in, I was met at the entrance to the show by one of the main stage wrestling founders, John.
Many users that just yourself? It's €14, please. You go, 2 tickets. If you give you the tickets at the door, you'll get a stamp on the hand. The show starts at 8:30. Enjoy the show. We come in now, it takes about 2 hours to set up, 2 hours for the show, and then an hour to set down and take all the equipment out. See, a wrestler he's not just a wrestler, he's also a role model, you know, so Sheamus is a good role model, you know, Fergal, Devitt, they're all great respectful people and great role models to younger people, you know, so
just to explain to people listening, Sheamus would have started at shows like this.
Yeah, Sheamus would have started off at shows like this around Ireland, and you know, there's always, it's always how far do you want to bring it, you know, are you happy just doing the odd show at the weekend in Ireland, or do you want to go to England and do more, do you want to go to Europe and do more, do you want to do a WWE tryout? It's all about how much you want to push yourself. The thing about this is nobody in here is going to promote you, so you have to get out and do it yourself.
So do you see any lads in there now that you think have potential to make it, that are pushing that hard?
Being honest with you, there's everybody in there I see has the potential to make it. They have the heart and they have the drive.
So right now we're backstage, and the promoter has just come in and put up the card for the show. This will have on it who's, you know, winning, who's a good guy, who's a bad guy, and like the times for the matches. So like in my case, I think I've about 8 minutes, and then the last match is Johnny versus Paul Tracy for the title, which they have 12 minutes to play around with, so they're gonna have plenty of time.
What's the story? Just Tan and Lee here a little bit.
Men putting fake tan on each other.
Yeah,
That's part of the business.
This is exactly it. So basically, being that we're Irish, our colour is non-existent. Yeah, we're all very pale. So the problem with this is, and you'll see it if you ever go like to bodybuilding contests or anything, the lads are wearing like ludicrous amounts of tan. We don't go to that extreme, but the point is a lot of us do work hard in the gym. So when you have a very, very pale palette, like if your colour is very, very pale, it just hides all your definition. Like, so it's advantageous to be a bit tan. Plus as well, there's just that whole thing about people with tan. People just look at people with a tan like they're stars, even when, you know, they might be nothing spectacular. So when you combine that with, if the lads have good bodies as well, it creates a better image, like superstar image, and that's what we're trying to put over, this larger than life figure. Although it is very unglamorous. I am currently tanning a man's armpit, so you know what I mean? Yeah, he looks happy, and now I'm rubbing his chest. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's not a nice experience, but you know, I get my girlfriend to do it for me. I don't know what this chap's excuse is.
Bam is preparing for his match. Depending on who is fighting and who is playing what particular role, the matches are plotted like stories, with good and bad characters, crowd interaction, and the various moves discussed.
Alright, yeah, so assume you're going to be out first, so just hop me on my entrance, yeah, like I'll get up on the ropes, give me a couple of smacks, pull me down, I'll fire up, I'll back you into the ropes. You can beat me up a little bit on the outside, you can roll me in, whichever you want. The one hope I want to do is you be beating on me a little bit, go to pick me up, I'll start firing up, I'll back you into the buckle, I'll go to whip you across, you reverse me, follow me in, give me your big knee. Then later we'll work that into the comeback. You set me up for the big knee, really make a big thing that you're going to hit that knee again, except this time I'll move out of the way.
So you got to come out. Who's coming out first?
Well, to be honest with you,
find out when the kind of music.
Yeah, like there are some shows where all that will be planned ahead of time. I will, like, typically the heel comes out first because it's easier to get a crowd to hate you than to like you. So if the heel comes out first and gets everybody in the crowd hating him, they'll instinctively like whoever comes out of the curtain next.
Later on, I met Johnny Notaro, who was preparing for his headline match. He was wrestling a man called Paul Tracy, who I'd been hearing a lot about, and it looked like this might be a big opportunity for Johnny to take his wrestling career to the next level.
I'm going against Paul Tracy tonight, and he's a very respected wrestler all over the world. You know, he has links with European promotions and Germany and stuff like that, and he's like a kind of talent liaison between like Europe's independent level talent and Japan's a company in Japan called 01 Pro Wrestling. So, you know, personally I kind of watched him and I have a lot of respect for him, and I'm kind of a bit nervous, you know, going against Paul. But his gimmick is that he's kind of, I don't know, like aristocracy or something. He's like Lord of the Manor, you know. He's kind of posh, and instantly for inner city Dublin people, you know, they're gonna hate him. You know what I mean? He's gonna come out, tell them all how awful they are, how, you know, probably call them scum or whatever, you know, and then I'll have to come out, and he's already, after setting it up, they hate him, so whoever comes through that curtain is going to get a loud pop, as we call it, which is a cheer. And that kind of, see, Paul's so good, it kind of makes it easy on me, so they're kind of instantly in my corner, you know. As soon as they see anyone coming in defending them after this hated man comes out insulting them, then it's kind of all easy from there, you know.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, a certain wrestler from the back has asked if he could have some time to come out and talk to all of you. So, do you think we should bring him out? He's not very nice. But he's the sort of man that you can't really say no to. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, would you please welcome to the ring the Lord of the Manor, Sir Paul Tracy.
I am an Irish wrestler. I am from County Wicklow, but I thank God every day that I'm from Bray and not from this miserable town. I remember about 10 years ago hasn't changed a bit. You people are still ugly, the town still sucks, and this place still stinks.
It would have been nice to talk to Sheamus, but with the layers of corporate administration I encountered dealing with the WWE, I still don't know if he knew I was trying to get in contact. I called up with Bam a few days later and asked him if he thought Sheamus' success was a one-off, or if there are more superstars to come from Irish wrestling.
The thing is about Sheamus is that, like, I never foresaw, from knowing him, I never foresaw him not getting there. If you get me? Now, I'm honestly surprised that he's been as successful as he has, because he's been a former champion there a couple of times, like their main World Heavyweight Champion and WWE Champion. They're like their two main titles, and he's held both of them as far as I know. So, like, he's been to the top of that promotion. Like, his names are in the history books as a champion in an American promotion, first Irishman to do it. So, regardless to whatever he does with the rest of his life or his career, he will always be the guy who did it first from Ireland. Like, we should celebrate that more, you know what I mean? Because he is, like, for people like me and everybody who wrestles in Ireland, he's shown us that you can get there off the back of being an Irish, like, the majority of his work and stuff was done over here. So for him to get all the way there from somewhere as small as this country proves to all of us that if you put in enough work with your body, with your actual wrestling ability, with your character, your look, everything, you can do it, you know what I mean? That's what I say though, like, it still is very surreal to see the chap. Like I said to you, I was rubbing fake tan on his back at one stage, or like riding in his car while we were all like he was singing along to the Foo Fighters or something. It's very surreal to see him now in front of, 50,000 people in an arena in the States, you know what I mean? It's shocking. Or wrestling in Japan or somewhere like in Europe whenever they go on tour and stuff. It's very surreal to see him be at that level. Like, and he's so synonymous with the product now, like Sheamus.
It's a shame for fate. He's first from Dublin, Ireland, weighing 272 pounds, the Celtic Warrior, Sheamus.
Okay, you and I were talking about this a little bit earlier today. We both believe that no one has ever had a first year in the WWE like Sheamus has.
Yeah, I think it's unparalleled. And a victory here tonight at WrestleMania could make Sheamus' second year unparalleled.
Matt Striker.